Hey everyone, it's Diana with Homeschool Lific. How are you today? I'm doing a little chit chat type of video from my car on day 6 of our Vlogmas. So welcome. Today I thought I'd do a little video on my biggest fears as a homeschooling mom, and it's both parts, as a homeschooling mom of younger children and a homeschooling mom of high schoolers, because those were where my biggest fears came in at, and and I don't think I'm the only one. So I'm going to talk to you about my biggest fears and what was some realities and what wasn't, and hopefully it will help you in your homeschooling career. So I'm going to start off with my little ones when they were the youngest. I don't know if you know my background or not. If you're new to our channel, please like and subscribe. But if you've watched any of my videos, you know that I started homeschooling when my oldest 3 were kindergarten, going to 1st grade, going to 4th grade, and going to 6th grade. My biggest fear was, how do I teach these guys how to read? What if I fail them? What if they have to go back into the school district and they are terribly behind? And that's a real fear, guys. That's not something made up. And I won't say that sometimes it doesn't sneak up on me. You know, I've been homeschooling for 14 years. I'm not saying that sometimes it doesn't sneak up on me and I get that feeling. And then the harder one was when my 4th son, you know, he's never attended a public school. So all my other kids, they already had the basics, or they were reading and writing already. Where my 4th son, there was none of that. And that was a whole thing. And I might do, in our Vlogmas, I might do a video on that, just because it was a particular journey. It was a very hard one. I definitely made some mistakes in that. Very avoidable mistakes that caused more pain, but also I learned where grace needs to be given, and understanding that some of that pain and that struggle that happened would have happened whether we were in public school or not, because he is profoundly dyslexic. And in the school district we were in, there were no programs to help him with that. So that would have just been a journey in itself, no matter what. And I think that whether I was a homeschooler or a public schooler, private schooler, I think there would have been a level of regret either way, because I just didn't know. I didn't know you could be that dyslexic. I didn't know there were spectrums. I'm very familiar with dyslexia. I just wasn't familiar enough with it in depth. You know what I mean? So anyways, I digress. So what do you do with that? You know, well, hold on. I'm going to go to my second fear, greatest fear, and then I will address what do you do with these fears. My second greatest fear was with high schoolers. You've got 4 stinking years to get everything you are supposed to get into them by the time they graduate. And I always was scared that I wouldn't be able to do it, that I couldn't, that, you know, because I think of junior high as those catch-up years, you know, to get to bridge that gap. But if you have life situations come up, and we did, and for some of us, a pandemic come up, and middle school kind of got, you know, a little skewed, and those times where you thought you were going to be able to catch up. And guys, that was public school or homeschool, it didn't matter. You know what I'm saying? You didn't get that catch-up year that, you know, or years that you thought you were going to get. Don't. And I think no matter where your child is academically, that is a fear, you know, because they are relying on you to do what you're supposed to do to get them where they need to get for their goals in the future, right? And that's a lot of pressure. So how do I deal with these things? How do I deal with being a parent that is going to teach my child how to read on some kind of level and do math and all that stuff. And math wasn't a big fear for me, but I know for some parents that is, right? And then And then how am I going to get them through high school? All right. So let me first start off by saying that old fears still circle back around. I am on child number 5 when it comes to the reading and writing, the beginnings. And I am about to graduate. Well, I just graduated my son last year, so I've got 2 more kids to go, right? I'm looking out for my groceries. Because it's not good for one to drive and chit chat. Well, no, I could drive and chit chat as long as I don't look at you guys. But anyway, so how do you deal with that? There were fears. There were times when I was afraid. There was times when, and still, am I doing this right? I overthink it. I overanalyze. I'm a thinker. And my husband and I, we love to sit together and overanalyze too many things and pick things apart. And I do think that's part of our society too. I do think we have that as a society. We overthink things a lot of times. When truth be told, let's be truthful with ourselves. And there were always our holes in an education. So every education has holes in it. And I know that's not like the ideal thing to say. Like, you don't want to say, oh, there'll be holes no matter what you do. But it's true. It's true, there will be holes. So give yourself grace on that. The other thing is that there are a lot of tools, and you need to be, if you have a concern, then focus on those tools. So for me, I knew that because of the holes in my education, and I was educated from 8th grade to graduation it was the bottom 3 lowest education or school district in the country. I had a lot of holes. And when I think about all I didn't know, and frankly, I had a lot of holes from my elementary school to be honest. There was a lot of holes in my education, and I learned with my kids and a lot of I don't want to get down into the rabbit hole of where my holes were, but there were. And so what I realized is that what I was given is the ability to read, write, and do basic arithmetic well. And so that was my focus first, and then everything else later. So I was the most worried about that. And so that's where I focused first. And I'm not saying don't do the other stuff, do it, but I'm just saying that was where I focused first. That was the most important thing to me. So my thing is, whenever you have a fear, preparation is what you need to do. If you're afraid of something, then prepare for it as best as you can. And try to take that fear, because, we use fear and often we want to run the other way. But usually if you have a fear, it's telling you to be cautious about something, and you need to see if you need to go a different route, if you need to go through it, if you need to go around it, or maybe you need to go away. But most of the time we don't. We just need to figure out how to get through it. So prepare for that. If you know that your weak point is English, or language arts, then by all means find a program that will give you a script and tell you what to do and what to say. Watch YouTube videos of people telling you and showing you how to be successful in teaching your child. I have a video on that too, and I made it particularly because I needed something like that when I was first homeschooling my kids. I tend to like to make videos that I needed and there were not a lot of them, or there wasn't any of them available. And so I like making those kind of videos, and they don't get the highest hits, and I'm aware of that, but that's important to me. That's my ministry work for this channel, is to make sure that parents that need this kind of information, they can get it. Anyways, so if you're worried about being able to teach your child how to read, how to do arithmetic, then prepare for it, which might mean you need to educate yourself more, or educate yourself on how to teach kids. And that was a big breakthrough for me. IEW was a program that I used. I love that program. We're only not using it because I'm doing a tutoring program for my son, and ultimately it will be where I take both of my kids, because I just think it's a great program. But it required a little more of me for the learning to read, and I just wasn't ready for that. And Rebecca does a fine job, so why not? But the IEW requires you to take their course to be able to learn how to teach your child their curriculum, at least in parts of it, not all of it, but in parts of it. And because of it, I learned a buttload about teaching a child how to read. I learned so much. That, and then also watching the videos, watching the Abeka videos with my son. And that's another thing you could do. Like if you want to do videos or even just test them out, and you're looking at young grades, you could watch the videos with your child, and it'll give you all kind of tips and tricks on teaching kids how to read, and just be very receptive. I think the idea that everybody can teach a child how to read or do arithmetic is kind of flawed, and I've heard that in the homeschool community, and I don't know about that. And I've seen kids suffer because of that. And so that's which is my third thing. Like I was always afraid that my child would say some of the horrible things I've heard other kids say about their parents. And thankfully, they've not said anything too horrible. So it's actually been pretty good. Anyways, so the second thing, like I said, I was talking about was with high school, trying to, know that I've got 4 years to get all this information in, and I need to do it as soon as possible, or felt that way anyway. Well, the first thing you need to do is take a deep breath and know that you don't have to do it all right now. And the best thing you can do is, again, prepare. Work backwards. So what are the goals? We've talked about this in previous videos, and Lavonda and I look at where the end goal is. If the end goal is college or a certain school or a certain trade school or something like that, start there and work backwards. I know at 8th grade, a lot of times you don't know what career path your child is going in, but if you have a general idea, like if you are a family that are college bound and you know that you want to get your kid in college, then make sure you're doing what is required for your child to go to college. If you know that you're probably going to do a trade school, or you're not interested in any type of formal education beyond high school, then you've got a little more playroom. But there's probably some kind of focus, let's hope, for your child's life at the end of your homeschooling career. What is that focus? Work backwards. And then that kind of helps you out. There's already a general guideline provided by school districts too, to let you know what your child should be kind of doing in general. And as homeschoolers, we can slim that down or expand it. I will say be careful about going too far on the expansion, but outside of that, I think in some ways it's all the information that can be overwhelming about high school. And then you watch these videos, and this mom is doing this and that seems great, and then that mom is doing that and that seems great, and look at this dad, look what he does. Ooh, we need to do this too. So I think that's another thing that kind of gets us all anxious about it. So there's been times when I've put blinders on and just not really, once I settled on something, I just didn't watch anything else. I didn't talk to anybody about anything else. It was just too much, So that might be something you have to do, is just like make your decisions, put blinders on, and keep on trucking. As long as you're going and you're making progress, that's all anyone can ask of you. Because keep in mind, if you are struggling in high school, it may not be you. It might just be that your child would struggle no matter what it is. And a one-on-one education will most of the time be a better situation than a classroom. It's just what it is, because you can be very attentive. And I think the only time that fails is usually just because the parent is not being a very attentive person to their child. That might come out wrong, but I hope you know what I mean. Anyways, those were my biggest fears. This video is longer than I meant it to be, but that's how it goes with chit chat. In a nutshell, if you have a fear, evaluate that fear and then do what you can to be proactive, to get ahead of it and do the best that you can. Always, always, always give yourself grace, because a lot of times we are hyping ourselves up in our own mind. If 2020 taught us anything, it taught us that we can get through anything and we are capable. And so you are capable. You can totally do this. Don't let your fears overwhelm you and stop you, or to cause you to not see this through. I've graduated 3 kids. I'm going to tell you, it is totally worth it. Don't let your fears overwhelm you. This is all for now. We'll see you guys tomorrow for our day, I think we're on day 7 tomorrow of our Vlogmas. And I hope that you are blessed and well. Please check out the description box below for all the goodies. You want to consult, you want to learn more about homeschooling, and leave me a message about your greatest fears as well. Thanks again for watching. See you later. Bye.